Okay, Assalamualaikum again to all. From my last video, which is regarding honeybees and of the Quran, chromosome number of honeybees, which is 16 and 32. I hope you need to fully understand that first, if possible. Okay, right now I'm at the chapter 36, verse 80, Yasin, which also have that one and only word of the Quran with a value of 1632, the chromosome number of the two chromosome number of the bees, male and female. So which is here al-akhdar, or green. So we already know also that beside it is also the word tree, or as-sajari, and this word tree, as-sajari, with this exact spelling, alif lam sim jim ra, the only other one is also located at the B verse itself, chapter 16, verse 68. So the connection is of course very obvious. So now, before I start the main thing here, I just want to add a little bit. If from the very start of this verse 3680 until before this word tree, the total object value will also be exactly 1024, which is actually 32 times 32, which is of course interesting. Okay, but the most important thing is regarding this word, the first three word, allazi ja'ala lakum. Okay, when I try to check in the entire Quran, this exact word, allazi ja'ala lakum, so how you do it is you just copy and just paste here. Okay, just paste, copy, paste. Make sure it's under exact. Okay, I make it nearer. Make sure it's under exact, and also whole word too. And make sure it's must be starting of the verse and the word start, because this is exactly like chapter 36 verse 80. Am I right? So we want to find something that begins exactly like this in the Quran. So let's check it. So as you can see, there are only four verses that begins with this exact allazi ja'ala lakum. Okay. So of course the one inside chapter 30, one of them is of course chapter 36 verse 80, which have the middle word has a value of 1632. Okay, because this is all by the way, this word with value of 1632 is also the exact middle word of the verse, because if from this word al-akhdar until start is 6 word, and if from this word al-akhdar until end is also 6 word, so it's the exact middle word. Okay, let us go back to the 4 verses. So we already know about this one. Okay, the chapter 36 verse 80. Let us see the first one, the very first one, which is chapter 2 verse 22. The exact middle word of this verse, because since this verse has 23 words, okay, 23 words, which means that the exact middle word is the 12th word. Okay, if we look at the 12th word, okay, let me select the first one. Okay, so this is the very first verse of the Quran with that begins with allazi ja'ala lakum, the first of the 4. So the exact middle word is the word fa'akhraja. You can see, because from start of the verse until this word is 12 word, and from end of the verse until this word is also 12 word. So this is the exact middle word. Okay, which is very, very interesting. It has a value of 884. Okay, 884. Okay, and if you are experienced already regarding chapter 16, the big Quran miracle, you must know that about 884. Okay, it is if from the very start of chapter 16, the B, right until the only word B of the Quran, total words will of course be exactly 884. So the only word B of the Quran is also the 884th word from start of chapter 16b. Okay, so this is the first of the four verse that begins with allazi ja'ala lakum. So this one is already special, the first one. And by the way, this word with value of 884 fa'akhraja, this is the very first of the Quran, the very first of the Quran. So it's the very first word of the Quran with value of 884. Okay, you can check yourself, okay, about that. Okay, so if the first one is very interesting, let us check the last one, which is at chapter 43 verse 10. So first of all, the interesting thing about this is, it seems there is nothing interesting, the last one. But if you look at the letter count, the letter, there are 45 letters, and the sum of letter numbers is exactly 119 also. Okay, 119 is of course the exact value of the exact abjad value of the word B. Okay, the only word B of the Quran also have the exact abjad value of 119. So this verse is interesting because the total position letter sum, the total okay, the sum of letter numbers in their words, which means let's say the word allazi. Okay, let me go to, which means that the first word which is allazi, it has 4 letters. That means 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 10. So the second word ja'ala has 3 letters. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6. It's straightforward, just like that. So the total sum of letter numbers from each word is exactly 119. So if some of you might say this is not interesting, why you focus on this one? Why not 190? If this 190 letter, then you can make use of this. Okay, fair enough. But still it's 119. This, the last one, the last verse that begins with allazi ja'ala lakum. Okay, I want you to look at the verse. It is also the 433 verse of the Quran. 433 verse of the Quran is also the 1902 verse from end of the Quran. Okay, don't believe me? Let me prove. So I need to do something like this. Hopefully you can see, or as long as you can hear me well, you should understand. So I do this until the very end of the Quran. Okay, so I make it this way first, in single line. So I go to that verse, it's chapter 43 verse 10, the last verse of the Quran that begins with allazi ja'ala lakum. Okay, that's the one. So if from this verse right until the very end of Quran, okay, this is going to take a bit long, so I make it shortcut. I just do this, press shift, no need to press shift, just go until the bottom, press shift and do this. So now if from that last verse of the Quran that begins with allazi ja'ala lakum right until the very end of the Quran, the total verse will be exactly 1902 verses, 1902 verses. Okay, because I am quite experienced in this already, I instantly know that 1902 is special. Okay, because if from the very start of the Quran, okay, if from the very start of the Quran right until chapter 16, okay, so actually the very first verse of chapter 16 the B is also the 190 verse from the start of the Quran. So if the 190 of the Quran actually begins chapter 16 the B too. Okay, so if to me this is extremely powerful. Okay, we already get this thing, the only verse, the only word with value of 1632, okay, which is al-aqdar, and then okay, and then beside it is the only word, the word as-sajari, and the only other word as-sajari or tree, okay, the tree that is green or green tree, the only word tree with this exact spelling is located inside chapter 16 verse 68, or the B verse itself, the verse with the only word B itself. And then the first three word exact, allazi ja'ala lakum, okay, only three other verses begin exactly like this, okay, confirm. And the first and the last one is also special with regard to B, because the first one, the exact word is fa'akhraja, which is also the very first word with value of 884, okay, which also has the word of the Quran with value of 884. 884 is of course special. 884 is of course very special because it is the only word B of the Quran is also the 884th word of chapter 16, the B. And of course the last one is ultra special because this verse is also the 1902 verse from end of the Quran, and we know that the 1902 verse from start of the Quran immediately begins chapter 16, the B2. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Please like me or whatever, like subscribe me, leave comment, spread this message, okay? To me, getting rewards from Allah is much better. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.